So for me, fashion is wellness means that, I mean, quite simply, when you look good, you feel good. And it's not even necessarily so much about like the physical way you look. It's about like the intention behind getting dressed and sort of just like the care that you put into what goes on your body and you know, how you're presenting yourself to the world. I feel like it is I mean, we all have to get dressed, so it is a practice that we all have access to, and we're obviously also privileged to be able to like express ourselves through what we wear. So I figure, why not? And I understand that clothes can be so much tied up in body image and even like have, you know, like be tied to like socioeconomic things as well. But I really do think that if you take a second and take some time to really like think about who you want to be, like what you want to project to the world, and create that with what you wear, it just makes you feel so good. And I always say, like, you know, when you're wearing an outfit that you really, really love, and like just like you stand straighter, you interact with people more enthusiastically, you just like, you feel so much better about yourself. I feel like that is fashion as wellness. And then on the other hand, you know, when you're wearing something that feels uncomfortable, that you're kind of tugging at, or just like doesn't, I don't know, maybe you like don't like the shoes that you're wearing, I feel like it really just affects your mood. So I feel like, again, it's like this is something that we can kind of own and have control over. So why not do it, you know? So accessibility is important, but I also think that there's so many amazing people on Instagram that will be like, okay, buy this, buy this. Like, what I want to show is like, I don't necessarily want to tell you what to buy. I want you to look in your closet, you tell me what you have, and I'm gonna tell you how to wear it. Because it's easy to look at something and be like, okay, I like this. And then you buy it, and then it's like, okay, now what do I do with it? So I feel like that is sort of like, that's what's important to me. So it's not necessarily about being like, everybody needs like a blue striped shirt. Like, I don't necessarily think that's true. And I don't think that like there's one blue striped shirt that's great for everybody. For me, it's all about kind of like using what you have and sort of tailoring my approach to my clients. I think that clients trust me because I obviously, like, I'm giving honest feedback. I've had clients before, like I've gone into their closets, they're like, okay, just be mean to me. And it's like, okay, I'm not gonna be mean to you, of course, because I want it to be fun and I want you to enjoy this. But of course I am gonna be honest. If something doesn't look good, I'm gonna explain to you why it doesn't look good and like how we can find something that does. You know, so I think that it's about being honest, but also being gentle, because I also think fashion and clothing is like a very vulnerable place for people, and people's closets are like extremely personal and extremely vulnerable. So I find that it's very important to be a bit of a cheerleader, to sort of validate people, but then also to, of course, give like honest feedback. I'll tell you something, 99% of women have difficult relationships with their body. Like, no matter what they look like, everybody has something. And that also is something that kind of like, I really noticed that no matter how much money we have, no matter what we look like, no matter like what shape our body is, like there's always something that we're trying to hide, or something that we don't like, or something that somebody said 10 years ago that has like stuck in our mind, and now we like don't wear the color yellow, you know? So I feel like everybody has a really complicated relationship with their body and with clothing. And honestly, like, I love fashion, I love clothes so much, but the fashion industry has not really been so kind to different body types. So I understand why it's like a hard place to be. So I guess my goal in working with clients is to just kind of like, first of all, like demystify fashion, and also to just make it a fun and like kind of safe space to be. Also, like, I feel like when I'm working with a client who maybe like doesn't want to show their arms, for example, in something, like, I'm not going to say you have to show your arms. I'm going to help you figure out ways that we can like create amazing looks where you don't have to show your arms. I want to push you out of your comfort zone slightly, but also I think we should all be like, it's valid, and we should be like respected for like certain things in our, I don't know, in our bodies that we maybe want to not necessarily hide, but we should be able to highlight the things that we want to highlight. Okay, yeah, that's really, that's challenging, to be the subject of like before I did this, I was working as like a stylist on like editorial and ad shoots and stuff. So it's like, of course you're working with a model who looks amazing and everything and really doesn't necessarily have as much of a say in what they're wearing because it's about kind of the magazine or the brand. But now when it's on myself, there's just like, there's so much more insecurity. There's so many more things I have to consider. I struggle to say this because I feel like it maybe sounds like lame or not relatable, but I used to be a lot thinner. My body changed as I got older, obviously, as everyone's does. So I kind of feel like I had to learn a little bit how to like tweak what I was wearing to make it feel a bit more flattering. You know, I've been doing this a long time, so I feel like I've gotten to know my body and what works and what doesn't. I mean, I have a really big chest, which I used to pray for when I was younger, and now I'm like, okay, it's like not that great. So that's something that I'm not necessarily insecure about, but I feel like there are things that I feel like I can't wear that I would like to wear. For me, it's been about keeping my style and kind of staying true to myself, but then also not being afraid to like, I don't know, wear a different shape of jean if I feel like my hips are getting big. Like I feel like we can adapt and we can change and still kind of be true to ourselves. Yeah, like clothing. Like I feel like, I mean, I've said this, I think I've said this to you, but like in the beauty industry, for some reason, they've made an incredible pivot to sort of incorporate wellness into like the idea of beauty. So for example, like somebody would so proudly tell you, I got a facial, or I have a 10-step skincare routine, or I like, you know, just bought this really fancy serum. I feel like for fashion, it's totally the opposite. Like if you say you like something of someone's, like, oh, I just threw this on. Like in fashion, the whole idea, or at least what my clients are always asking for, is they always want to feel like they're not trying. They always want to feel effortless. They want to be put together and styled, but not like they tried, which like, I understand, but also it's okay to try. Like fashion is, again, such an important part of our day. I think it's okay to look like you tried a little bit, because like we should try. It feels good to try a little bit. So I feel like that's something. And then also, obviously it's like a wasteful industry, which I totally understand. And I understand like why there's like shame around fashion in that sense. But I do think that, I don't know, I would love to just kind of reframe fashion as more of a wellness tool, like the way that skincare is, as opposed to just like something frivolous and silly, because it is super important. Like I feel like everyone loves that like French girl look because it like looks unstyled and it looks really easy, but like obviously that takes work too. So I think it's okay to kind of like admit like, oh my God, you love this top. Okay, I tried on like 20 and this was the one that I found and I like it because of this, this, and this. I think it's like okay to like say that you care about clothes and say that you care about the way that you look. That's a really good question. I feel like I am somebody that relies so heavily on my friends and my friendships, like going to dinner with friends and seeing friends and talking to friends, and even just like texting with friends is so important for me and my mental health. I feel like, and of course with Nathan too, obviously, love Nathan, but I do feel like there's something really grounding to me about like, or something really grounding for me in talking to my friends and my loved ones. And when I haven't talked to like one of my girlfriends or my parents or Nate for a day, I feel like a little bit lost. So I feel like, yeah, it's a big grounding thing for me, my relationships. And they're also like really important. Like my relationships are very, very important to me. I'll say something shady about LA. I feel like people here flake a lot more. And I think I pride myself on being somebody that like, if I have a plan, I really stick to it, because it's really important to me. Like I will cancel other things in order to see my friends, just because, again, it's important to me and I want them to know that our relationship is important. I'm so pro antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication. That is something that I feel like has helped me so much, especially anti-anxiety. Jamie was with me when I had my very first panic attack. I did go to the hospital because I did think I was dying. And that was in was that like 2010? Okay, so that was in 2010. I had a panic attack. I was starting a new job, I think that was why, but it manifested as like physical symptoms. I was telling her I couldn't breathe, my heart was beating really fast, my hands were like, I couldn't feel my hands and my feet. And ever since that day in 2010, every single day I have like a bit of like a low-grade panic that I'm gonna have an anxiety attack again. So a lot of my anxiety comes from the fear of having anxiety. Okay, so it got better. I got prescribed Xanax, which I kind of will take every once in a while. I was taking it to fly because that was a space where I felt like a little bit uncomfortable. But now I sometimes will have Xanax with me in my purse. And I think I've also said this to you before, just that if I'm starting to get panicky, knowing that I have it is really helpful. I hardly ever take it. And if I do, that's also fine. But like just knowing that I have it is really calming. Also, I did CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, for about a year because I was getting, it was turning in more from like anxiety to like an actual panic disorder. Like I was getting really nervous to like go to CVS or like, I don't know, to drive or I was just, everything was making me feel nervous because I was so scared of having those same symptoms from 2010 again. Every time, I don't know, if I was like sitting on my hand or something and it fell asleep, I'm like, oh my God, no, it's happening again. Or I also didn't work out for that whole year. And that was also when I gained a bit of weight because when my heart rate would go up, it would mimic having an anxiety attack. And so then I was like, okay, I can't exercise anymore because I don't like this feeling. And obviously like when you're exercising, like your heart rate goes up, but like I couldn't kind of figure that, or even like if in the summer, I would get really hot and sweaty and then I would start to get really panicked. But anyway, so cognitive behavioral therapy, I recommend that to anybody who is struggling with this. It was so helpful. I saw her, like I said, for about a year. And it's really, I mean, I love all therapy, but it was really nice because it was very like goal oriented. And like, she actually said to me during a session, she's like, okay, I think you graduated. I think you're done. And that felt good because I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. I have the tools now and I am done. Like we don't have to really like go over this anymore. So that was so incredibly, incredibly helpful for me. I still obviously have anxiety and I still, have the Xanax in my purse, but now at least I know I have the tools for, I don't know, figuring out how to get myself out of it. When I'm watching like horrible TV. When I'm in a car, I don't like, well, a few reasons. I don't like being in a car just because I feel like, even if I am in control, I feel like a bit out of control. And I always feel like, last night I drove for the first time in LA and I was telling you guys today my neck hurts. And I think actually that could be why, because I get really tense when I drive. Also part of my anxiety is like being like in like a transit phase. Like I don't like being on planes, sometimes being in cars on the freeway, because it's like I like to like know where my exits are. So being in a car will make me feel really like, when can I get out of here? Like a really good outfit, I don't know. I want to say I'm confident, but I actually know that I have horrible posture, so I would like to sit more straight. When I feel pretty comfortable, I think, is when I can speak my mind. And then of course with clients, I always speak my mind.